Lauren Tickner is just 21 years old and has built up an Instagram following of nearly 130,000 followers and has turned that into a successful business. I can tell you one thing, that's not what I was doing when I was 21. Coming up right now on The Rise to the Top. All right, my friends, welcome to the Rise to the Top podcast. This is your host and great and good friend, David Siteman Garland, aka DSG. We've got episode 10 coming at you right now. This is a very unique, kind of different episode, and I'll be joined by Lauren Tickner, who I just mentioned is 21 years old. You know, get off my lawn, kids. What are you guys doing here? Bringing on the 21-year-old kids onto the show. What kind of shenanigans is this? But we're going to talk about this in depth. This is a fascinating conversation with Lauren that is really twofold. Okay, so the first half of the conversation, we're going to chat about how she has built her brand and business at just 21 years old, how she built her following, how she then turned that into then a coaching program and a business, and how she then turned that into online courses. So we're going to talk about that. It's a really interesting thing about how she pivoted. There's just a lot of kind of goodness in this interview. So as an entrepreneur or as an aspiring entrepreneur, there's going to be a lot that you're going to learn there from kind of the behind the scenes. Then we get into a lot of nitty gritty, specifically her weapon of choice, which is Instagram. Okay, so Lauren absolutely dominates it on Instagram. And we're not talking about one of those people that just has a big following but has no business skills. Like there's lots of people like that where they've kind of built up a following, but they don't know how to turn that into actual revenue and actually into a business. She has figured out all that, right? Which is awesome at 21. It's crazy. I don't know what I was doing at 21, playing hockey and goofing around and being in college. Lauren's building like successful businesses. It's amazing, right? So what she's going to do in the second half of this conversation is break down some strategies that we all can use to build up our Instagram following and why we should even focus on Instagram. We get into that as well. And I know I picked up some amazing things in this interview that I'm going to go implement literally right after this, okay? So enjoy this with Lauren Tickner, our youngest guest on the Rise to Top podcast. As always, you can check out the show notes at therisetotop.com/episode 10. Everything we mention in this episode will be there. All right, let's get at it. Alrighty, so now I'm joined, and I'm not going to say it as eloquently as she can say it, of course, because she's got the cool accent, but I am now joined by Lauren Tickner here today on the podcast. Hello, Lauren. How are you?
Hello, David. I'm great, thank you. And thanks for the compliment on the accent. You know, funnily enough, when I was younger, I actually used to get teased for my voice at school because people used to call me posh.
That's so funny. And, you know, it's funny because anyone in America, we hear the accent, you know, we love it, but it's you know, you grow up anywhere, it's a little bit different. But we always have a joke because we have kind of a big audience over in England that the British are coming. You know what I mean? We always talk about that all the time. So we are very excited here to have you on the show. And, you know, it's funny that we're going to talk a lot about personal branding, building your brand and everything today. And it's so funny because we actually have not met before. A lot of guests that I have on the show are friends of mine or people that, you know, that I've known for years and years, but you came out of nowhere and you did it in a really interesting way. Maybe you could share, I mean, you just reached out to me. I know you've been listening to the show and maybe you could just kind of share that really quickly because I think people will find that interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So I think I came across you on Amy Porterfield's podcast or something like that, one of these online marketing podcasts, and I heard you and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is awesome. I love what he's on about. Like, I just thought I really connected with what you were saying. And then I remember hearing a podcast, I don't know, I've heard you on a few different podcasts. Basically, it was on your Instagram and I saw that you were bringing back your podcast and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. So I commented on your post and you commented back to me and then I was like, oh, he's really nice. He's like on it with all the replying and stuff. And because I'm really, I think, you know, if someone's commenting on your post on social media, you should always try to reply back to them. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like a lot of people, they kind of get this certain amount of followers or they maybe have their team take control of it. But like you were replying and it was really cool. And then I joined your email list because I have basically been trying to, you know, start on webinars and stuff because I have an online course. So I was reading your emails and then I started replying to your emails. And I basically was just like, hey, David, this is my story. If you ever need anything from a 21-year-old entrepreneur who's using social media to basically build a business, then let me know. And at first you were kind of like, yeah, cool, like whatever. And then the next morning I just wake up to this email from David and he's like, hey, Lauren, I've been thinking this could be a cool interview for the show. So I was like, awesome. Well, that was easy, but
yeah, and it's funny. And first of all, by the way, flattery, of course, will get you everywhere in this world. But it's one of those things that, it was really interesting is that anyone that replies that I replied to or anyone that I see on social media or email, whatever, I always kind of look at what they're doing, really quickly, lightning fast, took a look at your profile. And the first thing that I found was interesting on Instagram with you is obviously it's not everything in the world, but it's obviously something that people see right away is you see 129,000 followers as of when we're taping this interview, right? And I'm like, well, Lauren must know what's going on, right? Then you sent me an email saying, hey, listen, not only have I leveraged this into a big following, but I've also built a business out of it. And I thought this would be really interesting to talk about just point blank here on the podcast. So let's go back. You're only 21 years old. How did you give us some background here? Like, how did you even get into this? Why don't you tell us how you got into this and exactly what you do now?
Okay, well, what I do. So basically, it's so funny when people ask me this because it was actually a total accident. I think nowadays, people get on social media and their immediate thought is, right, I'm going to build a business and I'm going to start making money right away. And I was just the total opposite to this. So long story short, I basically built my personal brand up all around fitness and I was in the fitness industry, whereas now I've kind of shifted to, I guess, focusing my personal brand around personal branding, if that kind of makes sense. So yeah, I pretty much built my following up within the fitness industry. But the reason why I started, I was 16 or 17 years old and I was a young girl, obviously, doing my exams in school. And I was basically into weight training and weightlifting and this whole fitness lifestyle. And there was nobody else my age in my area because I live in this little place in England called Surrey, and no one else in my area was like into this, and I just felt really isolated away from my friends. They were all going out drinking every single night, going out partying and all this stuff, and I just felt really disconnected. I had a lot of friends in school and I had a lot of fun with them, but at the same time I was really focused on doing well in my exams because I wanted to get into this certain University of Bath in England, and also I just really wanted to succeed in my fitness. I would much rather wake up, 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning than lay in hungover. That's what all my friends were doing. So I was like, okay, I need to connect with some people. I saw this massive online fitness community. And yeah, I guess I just made a fitness account, kept it secret from my friends. And it's so funny. I had it as a private account and my username was Fitness Life Lauren. So I was really young and, 17-year-old people are really mean to each other and they don't care about other people's feelings. They're not mature, obviously, especially the guys in my age. That, oh my gosh, it was so bad. So everyone found my account around when I had about 3,000 followers and I was mortified, David. I can't even tell you this feeling when the world feels like it's just kind of engulfing you and you're just falling down a black pit. That's how I felt. So pretty much I was going to stop actually with this whole fitness thing, but I kept going and I was sharing recipes and I was sharing workouts and I was just connecting with so many people online. And I guess that was what it was all about for me. It was about connecting with so many people, making these relationships. And then I went to all these events and I started getting invited by PR companies to events because as you build a social media following, I don't know how it is in the States, but over in the UK, PR companies will reach out to you and they'll invite you to all these events where you can connect with other people who are doing the same thing as you. So I started making a ton of friends and it was just really cool. And then I got my personal training qualifications and basically started doing some online fitness coaching. So I guess that was how I kind of started this whole business thing. Now
let me say this before we even go to the next step. I want to pick this one apart because I love this stuff, right? Because we're going to cover everything today. The good news is you're only 21, so we can cover your entire life in an hour here on the podcast. It's great, right? Other people are like, we're going to need 6 hours for this. So let's go back here for a second. It's one thing, if you look on, especially Instagram, in this case, and you're not just Instagram, you've got 300,000 monthly views going on YouTube. You've got other things going on.
That was some good stats there. I'm impressed. I didn't even know that myself.
Yeah. Fun fact, that's all the research I have. So we are now out of research. But the good news is we got it all out of the way in the first few minutes. So when I look back here, I see when I go on Instagram, I'm into fitness personally myself as well. And so I know that there are literally probably hundreds of thousands of fitness people on Instagram, if that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they range in amount of followers from, 1 to millions, right? And so I'm curious for you. Number one, was Instagram your number one medium for building your brand? Let's start with that for a second.
Yes, it was my way. It was how I built my initial followers, but I would say the way that I actually built my brand and how I established this really, really strong community, I would say that was through YouTube, because I feel like video content, audio content, whatever you choose to do, that's the way that your audience is able to connect with you on a much deeper level. Like right now we're having this conversation, and David, your audience is starting to get to know so much more about you through this audio. Whereas like on Instagram, it's good, yeah, but back when I was doing it a few years ago, there wasn't even Insta stories where you could post videos of yourself. So I feel like I really made the connection with people, and they got to know my personality all on YouTube. Yeah.
Got it. That makes sense. Now, here's my question. I mean, when you're going at this and you built a following here, I mean, quite a following, right? Is that a lot of times when you start in a business, you have no idea what you're doing. You're just kind of running and gunning and trying to figure out as it goes. What was sort of your approach? I mean, did you get help with this? Did you just try to make it up as you go? Was there any strategy kind of behind it as you were get going?
Okay, so I would say at the beginning, I was posting so much content. I was posting 3 times a day. Now, I would never say do this now because all the algorithm changes and all that. But yeah, I was basically sharing a ton of recipes. And what I would do, I actually had this one really crafty strategy, which I would say helped me gain a lot of followers. In the morning, I'd make a post of some delicious, healthy treat that I made. It was like healthy brownies or something. I'd make a photo of it and it looked amazing. And I would say, who wants this recipe? Comment below and tag a friend. And then I would obviously, everybody knows I was going to post it in the evening, but so right. I would then post the recipe later on that day. And so I guess that was like how I kind of built up my initial followers. But it was really also engaging with the community and just commenting back to every single comment as fast as I possibly could, and going and actively reaching out to other people who are in the same niche as me and commenting to them, because I think that's really important even now, and that's something that I still do now. Like, it's kind of finding people who have a similar following to you and then going onto their profiles and commenting to them, providing genuine, like, meaningful comments rather than just saying, oh wow, your abs look great. I would say something related to their caption that was really meaningful, or maybe I'd give them a little tip or something. So yeah, but then another thing that I did actually on social media was I created my own hashtag. And so the hashtag was Strength Feed, and I guess we'll get into this a little bit later because I built basically a business on top of this. So the hashtag now has around 125,000 posts under it, and it's just become a really, really well-known thing. So yeah, I mean, that helped me massively. That helped me establish myself as an authority within the whole world of strength training when it comes to fitness. Yeah, that really helped a lot.
Okay, now here's the question too. Now, when you were kind of building this following as well, your initial following, did you have business goals or motivation in mind at all? Because I'm always fascinated when I talk to people about this, because people vary big time. And a lot of people, it takes a little prodding to get their honest what they really want out of it. When you talked about that with motivation with business. So for you, were you thinking, okay, this is what I want to do? Like, I want to earn money from this. I want this to be a business. Was there any kind of thought on there? What was kind of motivating it?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I'll put my hands up and be honest. Of course, I think realistically, like, I was getting a lot of brands contacting me and they were saying, hey, we'll give you £10 to make a post for this. And at the beginning I was like, whoa, this is amazing.
Right, for sure.
And bearing in mind, I was like 17, 18 years old. That was really cool. And so I kind of will backtrack a little bit. So after I left school, because what we do in England is we do these A levels when we're 18, and then we do these exams basically to either get us a job or basically to go to uni. So I got into the University of Bath, but then instead of going straight away to university, I decided to defer my entrance for a year. So I went and worked at a FTSE 250 company called Jupiter Asset Management. So I was working there doing asset management, and this was all at the same time while I was building this personal brand online, and all these companies were contacting me and my following was growing. And I was getting so many freebies sent to me. Like, I was literally lapping it up. I would get so much free stuff. And it was just really funny because, yeah, I mean, as these companies were reaching out to me, I was like, okay, wow, this is advertising. And I kind of switched my brain onto marketing mode. And this was, I think, where I began my love of marketing. And I just started thinking, okay, this is really, really cool. And so then that was the same time I did my personal training qualifications. And I guess the first way that I actually monetized was doing online fitness coaching, because I thought, well, I have this full-time job. I obviously can't do in-person personal training because I was working a really, really demanding job, like 7 to 7, kind of with a massive long commute as well. So I couldn't do anything else. And I was like, right, well, I can earn some extra cash on the side because I'm getting so many questions asked to me per day. If I can actually then just say to them when they ask me a question, if I'm just like, hey, by the way, I do online fitness coaching for this price. If you want to do that with me, then we can do that. And I actually got a ton of clients really, really fast. So yeah, I mean, that was how it began for me. But I think the biggest motivation for me was I was like, okay, these big brands want to work with me. This is really cool. I can get them to pay me to post on social media. Now my mindset has shifted totally away from this now, but that was definitely it in the beginning. I kind of thought, oh my gosh, I can start working with, I don't know, like Nike or something, and they'll pay me like £2,000 to make a post. But I obviously wasn't thinking properly. Like I was like not even realizing.
No, but I was going to say that's a typical thought, though. I mean, if you look at it, I think that's one of the most fascinating things that I see in 2018, and this goes back even a couple years, is that now you've got people, and it's not just obviously Instagram, it's all different things, right? So Instagram, let's use Instagram and YouTube as the most likely examples there, where people build up a following, and if it gets big enough and influential enough, right, brands come and say, all right, here's a little cash. Now I want you to do this, right? Next thing you know, you got some shake weights and a vegan T-shirt or something, and you're you know, as my wife follows a lot of fashion people on Instagram. She's big into that, and she's always like, oh, they're always just hawking stuff all the time now, right? And the funny thing about that is that if you looked at it, I mean, you were well wise beyond your years on that one, right? And saying instead of, all right, someone else pays me, and I'm like basically an advertising channel, you know, for other people. Instead of that, I can take my knowledge, my expertise, my relationships with these people, and I can turn these into digital products and programs. Now, you started with an online coaching. Now you're evolving into courses, but now you can make a extremely good living and build a business from that. And you're not reliant on, say, Nike trying to, you know, or, you know, whatever to try to give you money for that. And what's interesting too, and I'm sure you agree with me on this, you have you've got a big following, right? Bar none. But what you've done can also be accomplished with people with far smaller followings if they've got more the mindset that they just need the right audience to create these, let's say, coaching programs or online courses for. Would you agree with that?
Yes, and I think that's something that's really important and that a lot of people get confused by. They think they need these millions of followers to earn all this money. And the issue is, I think the problem is kind of nowadays with the whole rise of social media and everything, is that people just aren't business minded enough. They'll get this one brand come to them and they'll say, hey, here's the $2,000 to make your post. And then they'll be happy with that. But what they don't realize is that this isn't a sustainable long-term income. And this, you know, I have a bunch of friends who I'm always telling this to, and they're like, oh, but I just love working with this brand and it's really cool. But the thing is, this brand could just drop them one day. They could literally wake up and drop them, and this person won't have any products to sell and they'll have no income. And funnily enough, it actually just happened. Well, it's not funny, but it's actually really sad, because this girl, that one of my friends, she had this sponsorship with this company and she had no products of her own, and now she has to go work in another job just doing receptionist in some gym, which is the job that she actually quit a year and a half ago because she was earning enough money from these sponsors online. But now she has to go back to that job because she doesn't have this stable income. And I think that, you know, she's got like 80,000 followers on social media, but she's just not business brained, so she doesn't know how to actually monetize. And that's the issue. I think, you know, it's all well and good working with brands, and yes, I do still work with brands if a good deal comes along my way. And
that's more the cherry on top, though. It's not the ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. That's just, you know, the money for a bit of extra sushi if I'm feeling it, you know. So it's just that I've really realized how important it is to actually have proper business infrastructure, despite the fact whether to some people I may be perceived as an influencer. I don't see myself as an influencer. I see myself as an entrepreneur. You know, I'm just a digital entrepreneur, which is, I think, the massive line that people don't take into account. People my age, I think they really struggle to understand this and to realize that they need something that is theirs and that they are in full control of. And this brings me on to email lists. I mean, oh my gosh, nobody knows what an email list is these days.
Yeah. Well, it's funny about that because there's these different worlds. There's kind of like this influencer world, if you will, and the influencer world's all about social media. You know what I mean? It's all about that. And then there's kind of, let's just call it what it is, and there's varying degrees of sketchiness with it, but it's the online marketing world, right? Which is much more about, you know, list building and things like that as well. And it's interesting when combined, they're like an atomic weapon, you know what I mean, when done correctly. But it's funny because a lot of people are on one side of the brain or the other. And by the way, you know, I don't know if you know this, but that's actually what got me into online courses and digital products and programs was the same thing. I was doing a podcast 2008 to 2013, and in about 2009, 2010, it was basically 100% sponsorship driven, and I'm talking, by that point I'd built up 6 figures in sponsorships at that point. So we're doing 6 figures a year in sponsorships.
That's insane.
Yeah, which was awesome. Citrix Online, like GoToWebinar, GoToMeeting, stuff like that. They were our biggest sponsor, and it was right in that 6 figures range. And the problem, though, was exactly what you mentioned, is that this never happened to me. I didn't have to do what, unfortunately, that cautionary tale was that you just told, but I was always worried about it. I was always worried that they were going to call me one day and be like, nope, it's done. And I'm like, that would be like 90% of my revenue, right?
Yeah,
and that would not be good because I didn't have control of it. And so that's why, this podcast is not only going to reach people that I'm hoping that are in that kind of online marketing world, my world, right? But I'm hoping this also reaches a new type of person, an influencer like your world, if you will, where they're maybe kind of learning these skills to build a business and also turn what they know into different products and programs, right? And so I'm curious, one about, we will talk about email, but I'm curious about this for a quick second. Your coaching program. You do your coaching program. How did that go and what happened from there?
Okay, so, gosh, how old was I? 19, 18? I don't know. I mean, I'm making it out like that was ages ago. That was like a couple of years ago. But
yeah, you're like, yeah. If I said that, that would sound like, and then other people I know say that would seem a lot longer ago than it is. It's like it was like 24 months ago. Let's go.
Yeah, so okay, for me, I've always been really interested and just fascinated by making my income as passive as possible, because I don't know, I guess I'm one of these people where I absolutely love to work, right? And I don't mind putting the hours in. I put a lot of hours in, and I have like a really strict timetable for myself and stuff, but I also get kind of a thrill out of seeing how passive I can make my income, and I just like the idea of kind of automating stuff. So I was obviously having to do these coaching calls with people, and then I don't know, I just didn't like the fact that I had to still trade time for money.
Right. Like it was still at a little bit better of a scale versus one-on-one, let's say, but it's still time for money. It still is. Right. And like small group, or even if you were speaking in front of an audience of 500 people, let's just say, right? It's still time for money. I mean, that's still stuff that you'd have to go to the next city then to do the same thing. You'd have to get the next group of clients to probably repeat the same thing you said to the first group of clients, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this is what I was doing. And I was like, it was online fitness coaching. So of course, some of these people, that I was coaching, it was hard. They just weren't really getting it. And I was just getting asked so many questions. And I love it when people ask me really in-depth questions. But when someone's asking you, is it okay to eat carbs? It's over and over again. It was quite draining to me, and it was taking so much energy. And I think, as an entrepreneur, you need to try and reduce mental fatigue as much as possible. Like that's really important to me. And bearing in mind, I was working this job during the week, and then at the weekends I was having to do these check-ins. It was like, okay, I cannot do this. So I then basically, just continuing the story on a little bit more. So I pretty much was working this corporate job. It was supposed to be a 12-month placement, but I actually handed in my notice the day after I got my bonus. So I was like, awesome, got a few extra grand in the bank. I'm going to just, then go to university and enjoy my time at university. And my whole mindset was like, okay, I'll keep building up my Instagram and do this online fitness coaching while I'm at university, because it means that I have money while I'm at uni. I don't have to worry about being in debt like all the other people around me were. So yeah, I went to university seriously with the mindset of, okay, I'm literally just going for fun. And I actually switched my course. I was supposed to be doing politics and economics, but I switched it to business administration, which is actually the #1 business course in the UK. So that was really cool. And I was happy that I got on that course, but I got there and I was like, right, okay, I mean, this is not for me. My Instagram was booming. I had a lot of companies contacting me, and I actually started working with one of the #1 fitness companies. I don't know if you know Gymshark, but I started working with them, and I became a sponsored athlete of theirs or whatever. And then just jumping forward a little bit, the reason why I'm so passionate about getting my own products and stuff is because Gymshark dropped me, and that was when I began to realize, whoa, it's so important to have my own products. But anyway, backtracking again a little bit more, I was always of this mindset of having my own products are important, but that was the pivotal moment when I was like, whoa, it's so important. So anyway, yeah, back to when I was at university. So I then decided to make my own online training program. So it was like an ebook that you could download. It cost £40. $50 or whatever. And then I also made another one as well, which was 45, which was about nutrition. And so I started selling these, and within I think within the first one, within a week, I made about 20 grand. And I was like, whoa, this is unbelievable. I just couldn't believe it. And my mind was blown. My mind was actually blown that this was possible. And I was like, whoa, all these people are actually buying this product, and this product doesn't even cost that much. And like, still, I don't know, it just really surprised me. And I didn't realize that that was so possible. So I was like, okay, right, I need to figure out a way that I can do this, but on a larger scale. But, I was in university and it was hard to balance everything all at the same time. So then pretty much after my first year of uni, I had to go back and do another placement. So I worked in influencer marketing for a bit. So I've seen kind of both sides of the whole influencer world.
Now, real quick here,
Yeah.
because I have to interrupt because I like to probe. If I'm not here,
Okay.
I'm the prober. Is with that too. I mean, first of all, one of the key things of being a successful entrepreneur, and I've known this from now 10 years in business, right, is, especially online, is self-awareness. And a lot of people don't have it. They do things that they think they should do, or build a business the way someone else wants to do it, right? You have to know what you want. And for you, that's a very good thing for you that you were able to realize very early on that you cared about more passive products versus active, right? Because a lot of people don't. I mean, they think, okay, well, I'll just work 24 hours a day, and yeah, I'm my own business owner, but I'm really kind of a slave to my own business, right? And I was in there a long time ago as well. So I've seen that. So that was a very important mindset shift for you to think, okay, well, what kind of things can I do, let's say once, but then I market and promote it over and over again, right? For years and years and years. And that's what happened with your product and things like that. So with your story too there, you were doing the coaching, back and forth, university, jobs, different things like that. What happened then at that point? I mean, then you got your what was it, ebook? Is that what we said that was out there, or guide? And that was, you did the $20,000. Where does kind of the story go from here in terms of the monetizing?
Okay, so I made that like 20K from one product, and then I brought out another one, did about the same, I think maybe slightly more. I can't remember. I'm not entirely sure, to be fair, because it's one of those things that's still selling now. It's just like ticking over. And I turned off notifications on Shopify because it was doing my head in. But it's a good problem to have, right? So so anyway, pretty much I then finished that year at university. I was like, okay, I need to make another ebook. So I made another ebook. It didn't do as well. I'd say overall it was about 12K, but that's because the fitness industry has become so overly saturated with ebooks now, and everybody has an ebook, whether they have like 2,000 followers or whether they have 1 million followers. It's become so saturated. So I was like, okay, I don't know. I mean, the reason why I pivoted away from the fitness industry towards what I'm doing now isn't because of this. It's because my passion is, this whole online business and personal branding thing. So yeah, I was working in influencer marketing. I then decided to quit the job in influencer marketing because I was like, I can't, I'm just unemployable. That's it. I am truly unemployable.
Understood.
So I was like, okay, realistically, I can either go to university or I can do my own thing. And I just really, I'm so passionate about what I do. I just had to drop out of university. And so if I quit my job, I had to drop out of university. So anyway, dropped out, quit the job all at the same time, and then went just all in on what I'm doing now. And that was when I was like, I was learning more about online marketing, and I was hearing you on podcasts, and there was other people that like Pat Flynn. I've always loved his podcast Smart Passive Income, but I don't know, I mean, I never really took action on it because I didn't really know what I could do. And then one day I was just talking to someone, and they were just like, how did you grow your social media? How have you done what you've done? And I was like, I wasn't thinking about the followers. This is what I said to them. I was like, I wasn't thinking about the followers. I was thinking about the community and how I want to be perceived by the world, and what I want to do long term. And then at that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, I can teach other people to do the same thing. And it was a bit of a kind of, I don't know, some people probably see it as random just because they knew me as a fitness influencer or whatever. But yeah, I was just like, okay, I mean, I was hearing about online courses, but I was just thinking, I don't know about online courses because I don't know if people actually still buy them. And then I literally typed in on the podcast thing, online courses. And then I started listening to all this stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I was hearing how people were like doing, in a week, they were earning like 6 figures. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. And then I was like, but it's more than that. I can actually help change people's lives and their careers, because I'd done this job that I hated. When I was working in asset management, I hated it so much. And I was like, I want to help people be able to just take control of their lives and live a life that they truly love and build this personal brand. And, because the personal brand stays with you for life, and it's changed my life so much. And anybody can do it, no matter what industry they're in, they can do it. And so then I just realized, right, I'm going to make an online course. I don't care what people think about me. I'm just going to do it, dive straight in. And that's where we are today. I mean, that's how this whole thing came about. It was never something that I imagined myself doing, to be honest, but I just felt like I guess in the fitness industry, I felt like, I don't know, there wasn't really so much more that I could do, and I wasn't really sure what the next steps would be with
I get it.
world of fitness. Yeah. And so, I mean, I was just like, I've always been so into business, and, some people may not take me seriously because of my age, but I know for sure that I've been able to truly impact people's lives. And that's what it's all about to me, I guess. Yeah.
This is a shift. And the thing is, what I like about what you're doing, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but like you're not going to kind of half-ass it. You're going to go either full in one way or the other.
Oh,
here.
Hell yeah.
Because that's where I think people get themselves into trouble, is they dabble. And so like today they're a fitness expert. Tomorrow they're talking about, how to bake. And then the next day they're talking about how to build a house. And then the next day they're talking about online marketing. And the next day they're talking about how to make your own pillow. I don't know, whatever. Right. And so, but when you do that, it takes courage to realize, you know what, I'm not into this anymore. This is what I did. Nothing wrong with it. This was great. But guess what? I'm going to take these experiences and I'm going to turn this now into, let's just call it a new business or a new direction, right? Now, what did you do with that on the content perspective? Did you just start shifting your content? Did you say, hey guys, big announcement, not doing fitness anymore. I'm doing a little bit of it. Like what was how did that work? Because you already had a fan base and now you were shifting, which I know can be a little scary. So what did you do?
Yeah, so fortunately for me, I've always made it very clear that I'm into business. So I actually have a podcast called the Business Meets Fitness Podcast. So people already knew that I was into business, and they'd obviously I'd always like documented a little bit about how I was building these online products, like these ebooks and fitness ebooks and stuff. And yeah, so I was lucky in that sense, because if I hadn't have had that and if I hadn't have done those things, I think it would have been extremely random. But I guess I've always talked about mindset, and mindset is a massive, massive thing for me. So, I was talking about that hashtag I made, Strength Feed. So this hashtag is all about being not only physically strong, but also mentally strong. So I've always talked as well about productivity, mindset, about like journaling, all these different things. And so I basically just kind of started really, really just going really deep in on mindset, and not really posting so much about how to calculate your calories that you need to eat and like how to lose weight. I wasn't doing any more of that. I was literally just focusing on mindset, and I was like saying in my captions, whether it's in business or fitness, and I was just kind of finding a balance between the two. And of course this alienated some people, because some people literally just wanted to see my ab workouts, but that's fine. You don't want these people following you anyway. So yeah, I guess I pivoted in that sense. And then more recently I've started, just really focusing in on, okay, this is how to do online business. This is what I'm going to help you with. This is how to do content, blah, 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 all these things, and more of the how-tos behind that type of stuff. So yeah, I guess it was like really just focusing on mindset. But I think like the most important thing is, if you're trying to pivot, it's just like, you just have to make it clear that that's what you're doing.
Right. And not be scared of it. I mean, it's going to happen. You know what? And I've done that. I know a lot of people that have done that as well. I mean, I did that, in 2000, I was known as a kind of a podcaster interview person, if you will, and also, marketing, kind of general online marketing, right? 2011 came out of the course called Create Awesome Interviews, and then that kind of started my course journey for the next several years. But in 2013, when Create Awesome Online Courses came out, that's when I shifted my entire business to be about digital products and programs and online courses, the entire thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, by the way, I was fully aware that there were people following me at that point that maybe were, not applicable for this. Do you know what I mean? That was not in their thing. And I wasn't apologetic about it. I was just clear. So meaning saying like, listen, you might have found me before. Maybe you're going to find this interesting. Maybe you're not, but this is where we're going to go. This is this is where we're going. So, and so it does take, so for some of you that are listening, I guarantee you, I'm going to get an email, an Instagram comment, a Facebook comment, something from this episode where someone has stuck in a business that they do not like right now, right? And they want to shift it. And they say, you know what? I have been teaching hula hooping, and if I see hula hoop one more time, I'm going to throw up. I can't do it. And I'm not talking about a rash decision that they just made overnight. I'm talking about something that's really been growing for a long period of time, right? Because a lot of things with an entrepreneur, you've got to stick it out. Do you know what I'm saying? It's very true. But I'm saying that you know this is not where it's going to go. Your dream is to teach dogs how to do backflips, and that's where you're going to focus, right? But I know there's going to be someone that's going to listen to this and say that this episode at least helped them think about pulling the trigger on that, which is great to hear. Now, I want to grill you on a couple things here, Lauren. Very important.
Talk to me.
Okay, ready?
Talk to me.
We're gonna see how open book we go here. All right. So the personal branding course, is called Impact Through Influence, correct? And we will link that up, of course, in the show notes at therisetop.com/episode 10. We'll have a link. You can check that out. Now, got to know, first of all, when did the course come out?
Oh, 3 weeks ago. Okay, so I did beta. How do you say it in American accent? Beta testers?
Yes.
So I had little course testers. So I did 10 of them. They got it at a discounted rate. So that was a while ago now. I mean, maybe 7 or 8 weeks, maybe even 9 or 10 weeks ago. But then it actually came out properly, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay, got it. Now, how many sales so far?
So we just hit over 40 yesterday.
Okay, nice. So it's what? How is that? Translate that into dollars for me. What is that? 40, 50,000, 60,000, something like that. 50,000.
So yeah, oh my god, I have no idea in dollars, but in pounds, in Great sterling, it's 40 grand. So okay. I mean, I guess 50 grand in dollars. I don't know.
Nice. So I like that. By the way, it's a fantastic start. And but the thing is, what you've done, and this is where I want to ask the probing questions. What you've done a great job of, and this is what everyone can learn from for this. And I don't care what age you are. Listening to this and you're 18 or you're 86. Doesn't matter, right? The point is that once you build up an audience and a following of people that, it's cliche, but it's true, know, like, and trust you, right? That's what it is. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, are intrigued by you for whatever reason. You're helping them. It might be, there's a lot of different things you can do with your business. Do you know what I'm saying? You got that course out. That course is going to go on to make, lots of money, whatever it might be. But here's my question. I want to hear from your perspective. Is someone that's getting started right now. Okay, they're not an influencer. They're getting started. They're thinking, give me a random topic. You get to choose one. Go, Lauren. Go. Random topic.
Oh my gosh.
Go. Anything.
Scuba
on
diving.
The spot. Scuba diving. Okay, so they're gonna teach. Hopefully, drowning's not included. Okay, so it's a person out there right now that is extremely passionate about scuba diving. They know they want to turn this into a business. They know they want to teach, scuba diving tutorials online. They want to do courses. They want to create content around it. They want to do the whole kit and caboodle. They've got a big whopping following of 2, their cat and their mom, and that's it. Okay? They're starting from scratch. What would you point someone to do, for example, Scuba Steve here? What is he going to do to at least get his following started? What would be your personal advice for him?
Yeah, so the first thing that Steve needs to do is he needs to either get a podcast going, but I would recommend to Steve because it's scuba diving. I would say, he should do a YouTube channel and then have Instagram as well. But I guess he needs to think, okay, where is his target audience hanging out? Who does he want to target? Does he want to target, old people to help them do scuba diving, or does he want to target people who are a little bit younger? Because it really depends who the kind of demographic that you're trying to target, because if it's more middle-aged people, they might actually be on Facebook. If it's younger people, they're probably going to be on Instagram, YouTube, and all that. So you need to think, okay, where are these people? Now he really needs to think also, okay, how can I make content that is going to be valuable to this specific type of audience? So I don't know, do you want to target really high level people, or do you want to target total beginners? Now, personally, I am a total beginner when it comes to scuba diving. I don't even know what I need to do in order to start scuba diving. So he could make a video that is called How to Do Your First Scuba Dive, right? Or how to get your scuba diving qualifications or something. And then he could give some tips about how to pass your scuba diving exams. If he's wanting to target beginners, because that could be a good entry level point, targeting these beginners, because then they can follow you on the journey. Then he could do more of an advanced thing in a few years down the line. But hey, that's just, long-term business thinking. You do also, this is a good point actually, you do need to think about the long term. But hey, so we have this how to pass your scuba diver exam, because if you have a YouTube channel, that's going to be really, really valuable. It's just about providing this valuable content. And now look, he might do one video, but that's not good enough. You need to be providing this consistent value.
So what's consistent? What like and that always gets, because here's the thing. People get nervous about the content treadmill, right? They're thinking, oh my God, the whole rest of my life, that's all I'm going to be doing. And I was in that boat a long time ago. They're going to be thinking, I have to do my 3 Instagram posts a day. I have to do a video. And I see people do this and it works for like a little bit. And this is very much the Gary Vaynerchuk method, right? Gary Vaynerchuk, his method, and I know Gary very well. I mean, his method is that you will go until you can't go anymore. And then you'll keep going and go. And like, volumes and volumes of content and every day and every hour and this kind of stuff. What's your philosophy with that? I mean, is that where we're at, or like what is he going to need to do? Or is it just one video a week, let's just say in the case of Scuba Steve here, or where would you advise someone like that?
So it really depends on what platform you're using. For Instagram, I would seriously say 1 post per day on Instagram.
Okay, so I like these. I like rules like this because I feel like people, I mean, I know they're meant to be broken, but I like these because these are good guidelines for people. So go ahead.
Definitely. So 1 post per day on Instagram, and then, you might as well do some Insta stories while you're at it, because even if it's just saying that you've made a new post, then that's still going to be all right, because it just gives people another way to interact with you. They might see the story and be like, oh, I'm going to go check out what his post is about, and then they'll go check you out. So yeah, just on Instagram, and then make sure that you're replying to all the comments, unless it's some spam bot saying, hey, love your post. Just ignore that one, maybe even delete it because it looks a bit spammy. So yeah, 1 post a day on Instagram, that's super, super valuable. And if you're doing Instagram stories where you're talking to the camera, so like a video, just make sure you put a little bit of text on there as well, because if you just have a talking head just talking to the camera, people might be in their office, they might not actually be able to understand what you're saying. So if you just put a little bit of text on there as well. So that's good for Instagram. I wouldn't even say that you need to do more than 1 per day. I think that's actually unnecessary. So then YouTube, I would say 1 video a week. Same with the podcast, other social media platforms. Now, when it comes to Facebook, I would just say whatever content that you're posting on Instagram, then put it on Facebook as well, but just do it a couple of days away from it. Because if you're posting the same photo on Instagram and Facebook on the same day, then people might not necessarily engage with it like they would if you posted it a few days after. So let's say you make an Instagram post on Monday, which is how to find your perfect scuba diving mask. So then on Wednesday, let's say you're going to post it 2 days later on to Facebook, the exact same post, because there are different people on different platforms. Another thing to note actually right now is, let's say on Instagram, basically what you can do is you can share your post from Instagram. You can literally turn this little slider thing and it goes blue and then it says share to Facebook or share to Twitter.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, don't do that.
That's no good, huh?
No, because Facebook has now just brought out this new thing, which basically means that if you're sharing links to Facebook, then it's basically going to make it not show up on anybody's timeline pretty much. Well, not necessarily anybody's, but it's just going to defavor you on the algorithm. So post the actual original post, the original photo or video with the same caption, but just separately, just totally like as though you were making a new post. So then, that's some good guidelines, I would say. It's just all about making sure that you are providing value that people can genuinely implement into their lives. Because it's all well and good saying, this is my new scuba diving mask. But what would be so much more valuable to people is, this is my new scuba diving mask and this is why I bought it and here's what you should do. And that's going to be really, really, that's going to just get people to like you. That's going to get people thinking, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. This person is an expert in their field. And realistically, if you are able to get people to perceive you as an expert, then they're going to be more likely to become true loyal fans of yours. And then that means in the long term, they're more likely to buy your products, to come to your events and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. And also, by the way, let me ask you about this too. There's a strategy that I don't love that some people say, not my cup of tea, which is that you have to be everywhere at once all the time. Right. And to me that, and I'm sure you're going to agree with this, but it is a invitation for burnout and disaster, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh.
Meaning
burnout.
Content burnout and disaster, because meaning some people will say, and they're wrong, no offense to them, I'm sure they're lovely people, but they're wrong.
Nah, they're wrong. They're so wrong.
Very wrong. Is they say you have to be everywhere. You got to be doing, let's just use examples. You have to be doing a podcast. You have to be doing YouTube videos. You better be tweeting your little butt off. You better be Instagramming. You better be Facebooking, LinkedIning, I don't know, whatever's coming out tomorrow, right? Pinteresting, Snapchatting, reverse, backwards, skydiving, whatever it might be, okay? And when I see that, I just know that's a recipe for disaster for people, because they're going to think, I got to get all this stuff. I got to get it out everywhere. I got to do it all the time. I'm not going to have time to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to have time to build a following. Like, what do you do with that? Choose one or two? Where do you like to think about that in terms of a focus for most people? And it doesn't really matter which ones, but what would you say to someone like that wants to do, and they're trying to develop that content strategy?
So if you are really serious about building your personal brand and you actually have extra money to invest in it, and you're thinking of it like this is for someone who's already built a huge business and they have a ton of spare money, then you can obviously get a team to help you out with this, right? But for someone who's at the beginning, and to be honest, personally, that I actually now do have a videographer to help me out, and he takes all my photos for me, edits all my photos for me, and edits all my videos for me as well. However, that's because I now see my personal brand as a business. I'm doing it full time, and I have been doing it now for 4 years, right? So for someone who's at the very beginning stages, you don't need to do this by any means. And I would honestly say, this is my rule, and this is what I kind of tell people, but I say Instagram +1, and the +1 should be either video or audio.
Okay.
And then that's just a rule that I've made. But this is because, typically my demographic is people similar to my age who are also going to be targeting people who are similar to their age, So if you have a slightly more middle-aged audience, then I'd say, you want to be picking Facebook, right? But I would always say, I still believe Instagram +1 is a great rule, because it means it's a good way to start. And then as you grow and as you do, maybe let's say at the moment it's your side hustle, right? And then if you do decide to quit your job, then maybe you could pick up another social media platform. But Instagram +1 is your thing, right? And these are your main platforms. So then what I'd like to say for kind of Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn is they are essentially platforms that support your main two platforms. So you might, I'm on Twitter because sometimes I like to randomly make tweets if I'm in the shower and I think of something real deep and it just sounds cool. And then I'll just go tweet it, but it's not my main.
It's not your
platform.
focus. It's right. The auxiliary, if you will. I like that. I like that Instagram +1. That's a good one. That's going to stick in people's brain.
Definitely. And then I share my YouTube videos on Instagram as well. So I'll just put the link on there and I'll put the thumbnail and I'll be like, I just uploaded a video about how to batch your content for social media, So I'll do that. But then also what I'll do is, like, let's say I upload a video that's like, I've started recently doing these little 1 minute long videos to Instagram where I basically select a topic. So the other day it was like 3 things I learned since I dropped out of university or something. So then what I do is I take that video and then I post like I was saying earlier, I posted it on a Monday on Instagram, and then on Wednesday I'm going to take this exact video, post it on Facebook with the exact same caption. And I'm pretty much just using it just as another way to post the exact same content. And then, just like, it's really important though for people to realize that just Instagram isn't enough. That's why I say +1. Just Facebook isn't enough either, because you need to have something else to support. Now, it could be Facebook +1. Let's say, you're trying to target middle-aged mums who have just had a baby and you want to help them get fit. You then might be like, okay, Facebook +1, and your +1 could be a YouTube. But you really need to realize that having a video or audio platform is so valuable, because that's where people can connect with you on that deeper level. That's where people can really get some solid information from you. And like you said earlier, it's all about that know, like, and trust factor. So yeah, no,
that makes a lot of sense. And let me ask on the Instagram here too, real quick, as long as we're on that subject, right? You did the Strength Feed hashtag. And by the way, we talk a lot about on this show, and also through all my products and programs and things like that, of the other things that you should be doing behind social media, because social media is just the front man for your business, if you will. You need to be doing things like creating landing pages, driving traffic from social media to a free giveaway, like an ebook or a free video series or a webinar, which then leads down to your email list, blah, 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 blah. People know all that are listening to the show, because they listen to the show. And of course, they've bought every single one of my products and programs, right? All of them. Every single one.
All of them.
All of them. This is a subliminal message. All of them. So there's the kind of the marketing piece of that as well. But there's the attention piece on Instagram, right? Because when I see Instagram, and I like Instagram, but I see it, and there's just like every other thing out there, there's a battle for attention, right? So when someone starts that maybe doesn't have much of a following or zero at all, and I understand posting it and cross-posting and things like that, what is one or two strategies they could do just to get some initial followers going? I mean, they may not have anyone, and they go in there and they're going to post some cool stuff. Let's just assume whatever they're posting is going to be great. Let's assume it's great. What can they do? What's something they could do to get a little attention going?
Okay, so here's a really, really sneaky tactic that I think is really good.
I like it.
Okay, so let's say we have Steve, and Steve really, really, really wants to help people who are beginner scuba divers. But there's Barry from North England, and Barry is really well known in the world of teaching scuba divers, beginner scuba divers. He's become the expert in the field of teaching beginners how to scuba dive. So what Steve should then go and do is he should go onto Barry's page and he should see who's following Barry. Was that his name? Yeah,
yes,
I think it was.
Barry.
So Steve should see who's following Barry and who's commenting on Barry's post. And then Steve should just go follow and comment to Barry's fans. Because if Steve has really good, valuable content on his page that is similar to Barry's, but even better, then all of Barry's fans are then going to go follow Steve. So this is a really, really good thing to do. It's essentially you're looking at who is where you want to be and pretty much just trying to steal their fans. So
I like it. No, I like it. This is why we're getting it down and dirty here, because I'm thinking of this just in my head. When I see a comment on one of my posts on Instagram, I always go and take a quick lightning look at who they are if I don't know who they are. I mean, lightning fast, but I look. Do you know what I mean? And so if I saw something I was interested in, I'd be very likely to pay attention to that person. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like, for example, like something random like slow pitch softball that I love. If I happen to click that person, I see a bunch of videos of them hitting home runs, I'm going to follow them. Do you know what I mean? And I'm going to pay attention. And so anyway, continue.
Yeah, so the reason why this works is because those people are already, if we're thinking about email marketing, these people are already warm. They're already commenting on Barry's post. They're already interested in what it is that Barry has to say. So you could even, like, the really important thing here is that when you're commenting to people or when you're trying to engage with people on social media is that your comments to them are meaningful.
Yes. Oh, God, thank you.
There's no point just commenting saying,
oh my God, love your page. Love your page.
Yeah. Love your scuba diving mask. Like, there's no point in that. What is the point? That's not helping anybody. Let's say, you go see one of their posts. What I would say is, okay, so you go over to Barry's page. You then see all these people who are already writing nice comments on Barry's post that are showing interest and expressing interest. You then click on their page. You then follow them. You start commenting on some of their stuff. And then after a while of commenting on their post, let's just say you comment on their post for a week. Let's say you comment on 3 of their posts. They might have then replied back to you a couple times. You could then DM them and say, hey, by the way, I saw that you're interested in scuba diving. I actually have this free email training all about scuba diving, and just send the link directly to them. I do this all the time, and it's how I've got, quite a lot of sales on my course, actually, I'd say has come from this. And it's just, I've been really active with it. Now, of course, you don't have a bunch of time to do this, but I like to say to people, when you're trying to build your personal brand, you need to be spending 2 hours per day on it. Now, some people might be like, oh my gosh, I don't have 2 hours per day, but you can find that time. I think realistically, the majority of people...
When I hear someone saying they don't have 2 hours a day, and this seriously, and I know every single type of demographic here. So I know people with kids, tons of kids, not that many kids, no kids, young, old, working day jobs, working night jobs, full-time entrepreneurs. I've seen everything. Do you know what I mean? All I hear is when they don't have that is that they just don't want to put in the effort. That's what I hear. And
they just love Netflix too much, or they like lying in too much. But it's just wake up 1 hour earlier and just watch one less Netflix show, and then you're done. And then, you just need to think about the long term here. Sure, you're not going to get results right away. But having said that, you actually might, because if you are putting this work in every single day, then you're going to start building up a following just through actually engaging with the community. So this is a tactic that's really valuable. Now, another thing that people can do is obviously using good hashtags. So hashtags, I think, are underrated. Now, again, like I was saying, just look at what hashtags Barry's using, because Barry's already, built up his following. So see what hashtags he's using and then just copy them. But also, I found this website and it's called all-hashtag.com. I'll send it to you after so you can put it in the show notes if you want.
Yes, they'll put it. Of course, they're putting it in the show notes.
It's really good because it basically means that you can see the most popular hashtags related to a specific topic. But not only that, because you don't just want to be using the most popular hashtags, you also want to be using some random hashtags as well, so that your posts have more chance of showing up in the most popular little bit that Instagram shows. So Instagram basically at this moment of time in April 2018, they basically show 9 of the most popular posts when it comes to that hashtag. So, if you're using
yes.
always the most engaged hashtags, your post isn't going to show up in the most popular 9, right? But if you're using some random hashtags, then your post might. So I don't know, Instagram always changes, so who knows how long that will last. Yeah, so all hashtags really good. And then another thing is you need to think about, okay, what is my ideal follower going to be searching? Because personally, I might hashtag entrepreneur, I might hashtag like digital marketing, I might hashtag productivity, but what is my ideal follower going to be typing in? So it might actually be different things. It might be, I don't know, I mean, a few examples could be they might follow, I don't know, they might follow you.
Yeah, it might be a lifestyle thing. It could be someone like me that, I teaching, digital products and programs, lifestyle business, that type of stuff too, right?
Exactly. So I might want to hashtag your name so I can steal some of your audience,
well, don't
right?
do that. They're mine. You're taking them. Not nice.
So I might want to just make hashtags like, what is this person listening to? What podcasts do they love? So I don't know, I might make a hashtag about a specific personal branding podcast that they love, or I might, you need to think about it that way. Who are they already following? What hashtags can I nick off these people and use for myself? Because I don't want to necessarily hashtag young entrepreneur, hashtag hustle, hashtag, a hashtag good for me to use is hashtag Gary V, hashtag Vayner Nation. Like these are all hashtags I use because Gary Vaynerchuk's followers are super interested in building their personal brand, right? So
no, you're on the money here. This is by the way, this might be, I loved hearing your story. Like that was killer because I think people love hearing this stuff. This stuff right now is so freaking valuable. I'm like salivating over here. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I can tell you when you go into teaching mode, you're like in beast mode now. Do you know what I mean? Like you've unleashed the beast here in this interview. It's funny. And now, and this is people's reward for listening to an entire podcast. They get to listen and they get the valuable tips and chunks of information here. I mean, this is great. I mean, with the hashtag stuff, maybe one more tip. Let's give us, since we're going on there, and then we'll wrap it up and give some links and cool stuff. So I love this on Instagram. For those also that are just looking to rock it with Instagram, what else can they be doing from a perspective? Because I love it. These are great tips.
Okay, so, I mean, I think it's just about making sure that you're making the most of the platform. So there's obviously Instagram stories, there's Instagram live, there's Instagram feed, but on the Instagram feed, you can make photos and people can also post videos. They can also do carousels where you post more than one. So I think it's all about making the most of every single thing on Instagram. Now, I think, if you were to schedule a weekly live stream, then that's going to get people really engaged, even if only 10 people are watching. If these 10 people are true fans, then that's going to be awesome. That's going to be a way for you to grow. And I think it's just about trying to really just make these valuable connections on there. For example, I DM'd you and, I also emailed you, but let's just pretend I only a better example. I DM'd this guy called Casey Adams the other day to get him on my podcast. Didn't think he was going to reply. He's like this 17-year-old entrepreneur because I have some new millennial podcast coming out, right? Sent him a DM and basically was just like, hey, love your podcast, would be great to get you on mine. And then pretty much we organized it right away. And so I've done that with a bunch of different people. I've done that with someone who has like 600K followers. And it's just about actually providing them value. So sending them a direct message, literally saying, hey, I love your stuff. Here's what I do. If you ever need any help, then just hit me up or whatever. So it's just like really expressing that you genuinely like their content, but also that you genuinely have something to offer them. And I think, really the sliding into people's DMs can be so valuable to you because it's all about making these connections with people who are in the same industry as you, because you never know what these people are going to go on to doing next. They might end up hosting an event or something and they might want to ask you to speak, or they might just want, they might want to just give you a shout out or something. But it's like just making genuine connections with people. I think that's what it's all about. I think it's about realizing that, yes, this is business, whatever, but if you're actually making true connections with people, and this is just in general life, but I think Instagram makes it really easy now to network with people and to actually, just make friends who are in the same industry and who you can have as long-term, maybe even business partners in the future, just thinking about it in that way.
I love it. And so it really does go down in the DM, my friend. Just like the song says. Well, Lauren,
goes down in the DM.
Exactly. That sounded exactly like it. I think you nailed it there. So, well, this was awesome today. I found this just a fascinating conversation. Not only, again, your personal story, but also your journey, and also hearing about how you've made a big shift, which I think people are going to find fascinating. And then also getting into kind of the nitty gritty on Instagram. Hey, you never know. We might even do a collaboration in the future. Maybe you and I will do a workshop together on Instagram marketing. You never know.
Happening.
my friend.
happening.
So good stuff will happen. So we'll chat about that maybe when we get off here. But on the way out, we're going to link up lots of things, of course, in the show notes at therisetop.com/episode 10. Where should we send people to find out more about you, check out what you got going on, all that jazz? What are the best links?
For sure. So I guess as these people are listening to a podcast right now, I do have a new podcast coming out called the Millennial Air Podcast. So that is actually going to be where I'm interviewing millennials on their success stories. But not only that, actually giving actionable strategies and steps. And I think what's really cool is that, you know, despite the fact that some people may be 50, 60, 70, but they can still listen to this podcast, because I think nowadays these people who are super young, like I'm interviewing people who are like 16, and of course people who are slightly older as well, but these people are truly experts in their field because they've grown up with this whole social media thing. They've grown up doing all this online business. So it's really cool to just be able to get their stories and hear how they've actually, you know, done it. Not just having a total chat. It's like what we've done today, David. It's just giving these actionable steps. So that's really cool. And then on Instagram, we talked about Instagram a lot. So it's just my name, Lauren Tickner. And then YouTube as well, I'm Lauren Tickner. And then I do have another podcast, if any, a fitness enthusiast or people who are in the world of fitness are listening, called the Business Meets Fitness Podcast. What else do I do? Yeah, I mean, that's it really.
We'll link it all up. So we'll have everything that was mentioned here on the episode will be on the show notes at therisetop.com/episode 10. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed up to the podcast, I mean, Lauren, what the heck is wrong with you? You just stumbled on here today and you're like, what the heck? Where do I go? Here, let me give you a link. Go to therisetop.com/subscribe. And you will see all the different options for subscribing to the podcast. You could do it even by Facebook Messenger if you want, or email,
Wow.
iTunes, Stitcher Radio. We're everywhere. We're like an octopus coming at you, okay? And if you want to go directly to iTunes, go to therisetop.com/iTunes. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. This was awesome. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a really good chat. You know, I haven't even had dinner yet, and it's 9 p.m. But it's been great.
Perfect. From over the pond. This is Lauren Tickner. I'm trying to say it correctly. Here on the Rise to the Top, I'm David Sipe McGarland. And remember, if you want some fluff, you know what to do. Go pet a bunny.
I'm a beaver. I was it to Daddy. All the way to the top. Bye bye.